We go then. There'll be a quantum leap in standard now, and that's not doing the Brits a disservice, but of course this is the couple that have been 5th in these championships 3 times, Galit and Sergei Sakhnovski from Israel.
So every edge is skated with power. She spins extremely quickly. And the match of the couple, very, very sharp indeed.
Wonderful. Well, they've always got the speed and the panache, these two. Lovely to watch. Just a joy to watch out there on the ice.
I thought that was breathtaking, really. Every edge, what comes over to me is every time he does a step, there is so much power and sureness and cleanness in it. And as he presents her and she does the turns, she's foot perfect. The precision of the spinning is excellent. And they were outside. When you look down at the ice rink from our position, you look at the respective, the relative patterns of everybody as they skated on the ice, and they were outside of everybody else's patterns all the time, really pushing to get that coverage. And I thought they captured the feel of the dance as well. So the surety of it, the cleanness of it, the way the waltz was presented, and all those things coming together on each edge and each point of the dance was very, very impressive to me. And it is that clarity and precision and the artistry coming together that we're looking at in ice dancing.
Well, I'll tell you what, Nicky, I've been doing my statistics here leading into this.
Are you all right?
Statistics, yeah. I've got the wrong teeth in. I think I picked yours up, actually. And I'm having trouble with these personal records because we've been given a list of personal bests before the competition started.
Yes.
And only one's been right compared to what we're seeing out here at the moment.
Right,
so
right.
I think I shall just take it easy with the personal records because there does seem to be a little bit of conflict here between the bits of information that we've got. But I can tell you that these two are ranked 5th in the world rankings in the compulsory dances, or actually in the total scores. And they'll be desperately looking for a place on the podium here at these European Championships. And of course, this is very important because people are trying to put down a marker before Olympic year.
And interesting to see Evgeny Platov there, of course, World Olympic champion, sat there. And you know, the former school of competitive skaters that are now competitive coaches will all want to win, and they'll all be really pushing their charges forward, and it's nice to see staying involved in the sport and making that happen. And you know, I loved the way that they presented this. I don't think they could have done any better.
Well, there it is. The total mark is 38.32, so they go shooting into the lead. Incidentally, you're seeing those scores coming up. They are out of 10, and they go up in increments of 0.25. So there's a little bit more information for you.
12 judges. All that stuff. Anyway, that was great.
So we move on now to couple number 6. And the couple that were 8th last year, currently ranked 2nd in Russia. This is Svetlana Kulikova and Vitali Novikov. A spectacular finish there for the couple from Russia, Svetlana Kulikova and Vitali Novikov. Now, Nicky, that looked to me like a skate of two halves, really. Really enjoyed the first sequence, but it all looked a bit of a struggle in the second sequence, particularly for him.
My overall impression was that somehow the cleanness of it working together didn't come over. They're both great skaters. You know, she's excellent the way she presents out, but it's almost like sometimes she's just presenting almost another level up from him. So there's the match of the couple together working in harmony to present out. There's just that slight, it's like she's going wham and he's going underneath that. And so I was looking at it thinking that makes me feel a little bit like there's not completely the balance in it, which it might be the waltz. I don't know. There were points where he looked at her like there, he's looking at her and presenting her, and you present through the woman out to the audience. They did a different pattern to all the other couples on a couple of areas. They might have been doing that to miss the ruts on the ice. It was also that it could have been a little slow. Great extension there, allowing her to get low, and that was precise. And I think you're right, on the second sequence there wasn't quite the confidence on that particular section that they had in the first sequence. But it just, everything is so critical in ice dancing, and there is something about it not completely looking sure and matching. And I don't know whether it's the hair, the tails need to be weighted down. This might sound daft, but every little bit makes a difference, you know. And if your hair's moving about and the tails on your tail suit don't have weights in them to hold them down and all that, it just detracts a tiny, tiny bit. So, you know, it just didn't flow as a waltz as much as it could have done to me, even though it was great.
You've heard it from Nicky. Let's see what the judges have to say. And I can tell you that Kulikova and Novikov go into second place behind Galit, Chait and Sergei Sakhnovski, and rightly so in my book, pushing the Brits down to third place. Good start to their campaign. They'll be pleased. Well, there they are, last year's bronze medalists. Could they possibly win a medal here in Turin? Also from the Ukraine, this is Elena Grushina and Ruslan Goncharov. Currently ranked 4th in the world rankings. 3rd in Europe. Well, again, a beautiful performance from these two. She just sells it to the max from start to finish. Bronze last year, could it possibly be a podium place for these two again in 2005? Your thoughts, Nicky?
I'm thinking that just looking at the different areas of judging here, what comes over to me standing out from that is interpretation. Really, you're looking for the couple to express the mood, emotions and character of the compulsory dance rhythm. And they had a lovely lilt to the way they skated. The actual knee bend and the ankle bend and the timing with the music, capturing that waltz rhythm. And then pushing through. There were times when they were catching the Welsh, the Welsh rhythm, the waltz rhythm, and then there was a hesitation and then a move into the next section. And that can make all the difference in how the dance appears to you. and they were representing that on the ice very well. It's one of the key things the judge is looking for, and it was consistent right the way through. Good ice coverage and competent in everything they were doing. See how close the couples get.
These super slow-mos really do pick out every part, every action.
And that the critical difference really between ice dancing and pair skating, apart from the jumps and the high lifts, it is that the judges in ice dancing are looking for the couple to be very, very close together. And if you imagine, like on a sledge going down the hill, the runners are close together. If they're out of line, it stops the sledge going fast. And then if you're out of line with your partner, there's a lot of tension in the performance. So working together to be in total alignment in everything you do is what you aim for.
A bit like our commentary then, really, eh?
Absolutely. Welsh waltzes.
Welsh waltzes. Heard it all now. Remember, it's Galit, Chait and Sergei Sakhnovski from Israel leading at the moment. But will they stave off the challenge from Grushina and Goncharov? Looking down, it's going to be mighty close. The technical elements mark 17.88 and overall 40.39 the score for Grushina and Goncharov, and they go into the lead. Close to their personal best, but there they are, the leaders, and Nikolai Morozov, their coach back home in Newington, Connecticut, will be pleased with that. And there they are, the couple that finished in second place last year, pushed down into bronze medal position in the Grand Prix finals in Beijing, looking to fight back here and have a good start to their European Championships. Albina Denkova and Maxim Staviski from Bulgaria. Well, these two just have so much support all around the world, and they're a joy to watch. One thing that comes across to me, Nicky, is no matter what's going on around the ice rink, whether it's a new judging system, an old judging system, a packed arena, just one person there, they love to skate, they love to perform, and they're at their best in an arena like this.
And what comes over straight away is the quality of their skating. One of the components score is skating skills, looking at the overall skating quality, the depth and quality of edges and ice coverage, the flow and the glide. And they're fast, they're confident, it's excellent skating and excellent flow. The second pattern, on the second side, so the first side of the second sequence, they were a little off pattern. So if you were being really picky technically, you would see that they were using the speed of the introduction to get more coverage there.
Would we get a better view of that because we're in an elevated position here than the judges being right on ringside? Or?
No, not really, because it's right across from the judges, so that they could see that. If they really were looking at it, you could see it. You may be right because we're up and we can see that, but when you're down ringside, you do know where people are going and you see it on the tracings on the ice. So if you were being really picky technically, you could say, well, hang on, you used that intro, you used that speed, and you made a lot more movement on that. And on the second sequence had a little less speed, and therefore you weren't on exactly the same pattern. Might I make just a tiny little, change for that one? You expect it to be like inches away from each other on each pattern of the rink. But the way they present it and that flow over the ice is very good. Still, to me, I still have the Israelis as my favourite of the day in performing here. And what I would love to see is a movement in the marks. We've got this new marking system, and you did just say before slotting in, it would be great if we can see movement through the competition, through this new system. Let's see.
Well, let's hope so as the week unfolds. Remember, the conclusion of the ice dance will be on Friday with the free dance. So here we go. High technical element marks there, 17.65, and these two have a very high personal best, 41.05, 22.43. The components marks and a total marks there for Denkova and Staviski of 40.08 has them in second place behind Grushina and Goncharov and ahead of the Israelis. So there'll be a big roar now for these two. A packed stadium, as you can hear. 6th last year. This is the Italian senior champions, Federica, Faiella and Massimo Scali. And we'd love to see them do well here. the crowd loved it. I enjoyed it, and this is a couple that have been slowly working their way up the rankings over the last 4 years. First time in at Europeans, they were in 12th place, which is a good place to start in. Then in 2003, they finished in 8th. Last year, in 6th place. It's a big, big thing to get inside the top 5, isn't it, Nicky? But they'll be trying their damnedest to get a marker for the Olympics next year.
They will indeed, and that to me was excellent. I really enjoyed it for so many reasons. Technically it was excellent. It was attacking all the way through. They had very good speed and they maintained it. They had a different pattern to some of the other couples on the first side, keeping them off the grooves and the ruts of the ice. Very precise, very well presented, and maintaining the energy right throughout the dance. That's so important. It shows a level of fitness which you have to work on, because you need to maintain. It's like the last step of the dance needs to look as fresh as the start, and they did that. So they will be delighted with that. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, I thought it was a good start, but these two are a couple that get better as the competition goes on, because they've got such character and personality. The original dance is good, and they just love the free dance. And you can imagine with a packed crowd here, it's going to be an amazing atmosphere for them.
It is indeed, and when you skate at home, it does really lift you. And we get the animation of the crowd. We're in Italy, okay? So it is going to be very exciting when they go out and skate the OD and the free dance. But sometimes when you do get excited, being able to almost calm yourself down to do the technical composition of the compulsory dances is difficult. They're able to do both things, to be exuberant and to have the quietness and that technical competence underneath every step they're doing. Very well skated.
Yeah, we usually say that skating at home can give you an extra 0.5. I'm not sure what it'll give them this year, but it'll give them something, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably 12.25.
Something like that. Anyway, there they are. They've loved it. They really have got into the spirit of this competition, and it's just wonderful to see so many school children packed in this arena. The ISU must be delighted, and very, very well done to the organisers on day 1 of these European Championships here in Turin. So there they are, the technical mark, 15.99. Their personal best, 35.42. They'd love to get close to that. I would imagine the second set's going to be good. The skating skill 6.64, right up to 6.82 for performance. So the total marks for the Italians, 36.10, has them in 4th place. Not bad. Not bad at all. Long way to go. We'll have to see how it fares out, but they'll be pleased with that at this stage. The Russian national champions, would you believe? 7th last year. This is Oksana Domnina and Maxim Shabalin.
And what's really noticeable about this skate is it looks easy. There doesn't look to be a lot of skating effort put into it. And yet they are covering a lot of ice. It is very precise, but it has this ease about it and flow over the ice, which is so important. It's what you work all year to get.
Very, very impressive indeed. Well, these two teamed up in the summer of 2002. The following year, they were crowned the World Junior Champions. Competed in the European Championships twice, their highest place, 7th place last year. And you can be sure that the Russians will be looking for them to be knocking on the door of a top 5 finish.
And it shows the strength at the top of this competition. Really impressive the way that they generate the speed without it looking as though they're putting any effort into that. Very elegant couple and precise over the ice. But that was the noticeable thing to me, that lack of effort and yet that speed coming out of it.
It's just naturally very, very good skaters, aren't they?
They are, and when you get the alignment of the couple working together well, and both are pushing in exactly the same direction, then if it really works, you don't have to try that hard. It is getting the technique excellent, which allows you to build up the speed. It's like you're both working together. Great pictures. Very difficult technically, this dance. And also looking relaxed and just being able to present it as though you're actually dancing in a ballroom is what you're aiming to get.
Yeah, one of the things that impressed me with these two is they didn't lose any speed, did they? On the intricate turns, the fast turns, they were able to keep the speed, just always had the weight over the right part of the skate.
Yes, and if you don't know what's going on, you look at it and you think, that looks really nice. Their body positions, the way he's framing the arms so that it is a lovely dance position right the way through. That another of the things that the judges are looking for was very well presented here.
They're smiling now. Will they be smiling once they see the marks? They'll be looking for a high total. And personal best of 36.79. And the marks are good. 35.15 their total, which has them in 5th place overall, behind the Italians and ahead of the couple from Azerbaijan, Fraser and Lukanin. Still a long way to go though. So next to go, the couple from France, 20th last year, runners-up in French Nationals. This is Nathalie Pechalat and Faiella and Bourzat. Well, this is a couple with a lot of promise and indeed a lot of ambition. They're competing in their first European Championships, competed in Worlds last year where they were 20th, but they say they'd really like to follow in the footsteps of some of the great French ice dance couples that there have been, and there have been a few in recent years, none least than Marina Anisina and Gwendal Pesara, the European and World Champions of 2000, and before them the Deschenes. What's your thoughts, Nicky?
I thought it had good flow over the ice. It was well presented. On the second sequence, first side, there was a little catch on one of the turns for me. What I get is really looking at, in the performance execution area of the 4 marks we'll see coming up, the carriage and style and the balance between the partners. He's just, to me, not relaxed down in the shoulders as much as he could be. He's not presenting her and relaxed in his expression as much as he could be, and what's happening there is maybe there's a little bit of tension underneath. You're trying to get it right, you know you are under pressure, you've been waiting so long backstage and you come and do this. He could just let himself get a little bit more down in the shoulders and a little bit more in a nicer body position than he's got. It's good and it's very good, but it didn't quite have the flow and the freedom to it that can bring about. And it's almost like when you see the couple skate and there's a freedom of movement. It's so beautiful, and that was just a little at times closed. Just didn't have that movement that was really free to go out as fast as it could. And that takes away from, you know, the carriage and style, the unison and the body alignment. And it is that overall impression that the judges get when they're ringside, of course. But it's a very, very competent performance, very good performance, and you know, it's great to build on it. But I'm sure when he's looking at the other guys and how that is, he'll be going, oh, right, I can get a bit more of that, a bit more presence here, and present it out to the audience slightly differently like that.
Okay, well, they have a personal best in the compulsory dance of 29.52, which they achieved in the Cup of China last year. And those marks, not bad. And I think they'll have been looking for a little more, 29.24, so not quite as much as their personal best. And that will have them in 9th place. Now this should be good. The French are here in force as always, and we're sat right next door to the French Eurosport commentary team as well, so they'll be in good voice as well. This is the couple that finished in 4th place last year, really knocking on the door of a medal position. Isabelle Delobel and Olivier Schoenfelder.
This is very good indeed. Deep edges, a slight syncopation on the timing. Lovely knee bend on the turns. A lot of power and speed.
absolutely loved it. What a start to their campaign. The French national champions, Isabelle Delobel and Olivier Schoenfelder. Well, in complete contrast to the Swiss couple, Nicky, these two have got a large contrast in their heights.
They have,
and it really works.
And the elegance, of course, when you can skate well and he holds the position, it makes almost every movement a picture moment, which is what you aim for as an ice dancer. That was very elegant indeed. Of particular interest to me was the timing, because they would do a quick turn and then hold, and a quick turn and hold, and it gives a kind of a breathing point within the dance, which you'd have in a waltz on the floor, which is exciting to see, and it just gives a different interpretation to the dance, gives a depth to it, if you like, and timing being one of the things that the judges are looking for, as well as that confidence and that elegance and clipped lines that they had. And that really, really was lovely. And I think it suits them as a couple. Sometimes, you know, if you have a couple that is slightly more matched in height, something like a samba or a cha-cha or something faster, rock and roll and jive might be better. But a waltz for a couple like this is the perfect dance for them, and they skated it very, very well indeed.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The choice of dance here was just perfect for these two.
It really was. And what you're looking for as well is that ease and that movement over the ice. And you know, when we watch it on television and we see it here, you don't realize that it's taken hours and hours and hours of practice to get that flow and that down in the ankle, down in the knee, with a good position of the body and matching together in order to make it just look so lovely.
Yeah, of course, all the dancers doing exactly the same steps, but they are mighty, mighty more difficult at speed, aren't they? The faster you go, the harder it is.
The faster you go, the harder it is, and if you get that twizzle out or you're out of line together, then, you know, you can go in a moment.
There's a stern face. So here we go, the marks, 39.37, their personal best so far. And you have to think they'll be close to that. The marks are looking good. Right up to 7.36 for the performance there. 38.49. Look to be the marks for Delobel and Schoenfelder. 38.49. Third place behind Denkova and Staviski, ahead of the Israelis. Now, what do you got to say about that, Nicky?
Well, I think at the top I'd have it slightly a different way round, actually, and I think the Israelis are... It's almost like a relative positioning thing going on there again, which I wouldn't have done. I would have had them above the Israelis, actually. I would have had the Israelis second.
So now, hang on to your hats. The defending champions, reigning European and world champions from Russia, Tatiana, Navka and Roman Kostomarov. And there he is, Alexander Zulin, the 1993 world champion, his wife Maya Usova.
Deep edges, sureness, a lot of power, but coming easily.
Well, they look like champions. A very, very strong performance, full of confidence, full of flair and panache.
And to me, what came over when they went on, and this is really what you have to develop and have inside of you, is a presence to look like a champion when you go out there to skate. They're defending their championship now, and that's a different place to be rather than trying to win it. And he looked like he had that presence. Obviously putting the makeup on, I'd work for him backstage and build him up. But seriously, you know, you
are for me too.
You are getting yourself into that mindset of the presentation and taking the space, and that's what they did. The first sequence was better than the second. The end of the second sequence just lost some of that, just lost a little bit of that drive to me. But for 1.5 sequences, it was lovely. A lot of strength, very precise, clean edges, deep, good pattern, and very, very, very well skated. I still, I would almost like to play them back to back, the French against that, because of looking at it as a waltz and the overall thing. But technically, they would have it because of the way they covered the ice for me.
So you don't rate the two performances ahead of the French couple, Grushina and Goncharov, Denkova and Staviski?
Well, I did rank them, but I wouldn't rank them where they were. I thought Albina and Maxim, you know, Denkova and Staviski, to me, it was a bit distracted by not having an outfit that worked with the waltz for me. They would, you know, I like it when the tail suit and the way that works, and they didn't go for that. So it didn't really add to the waltz feel, and the way they overall presented it against some of the others I've seen today wasn't as strong. But it's not saying overall then they're not, you know, going to win it. It's nice to see people move around, and that's what you're saying. Absolutely.
Just heard that Albina actually is not very well at all. She's on medication, and it was a really tough skate for her out there. So very, very well done to her for getting out there and getting through it. Okay, so let's see these marks. They're good, very, very good marks indeed. Opponent scored 24.36, 44.19, and they go shooting into the top. Navka-Kostamarov lead, Grushina and Goncharov in second, and Denkova and Staviski in third place. Oh, our final couple this afternoon, and a big moment for Nicky and I, the two-time British champions. A fantastic 10th place last year in their first European Championships. What can they do there? Nicky's mum makes her way over to the corner to watch this. She trains them back home. Big moment. Fingers crossed now. Deep breath for John and Sinead Kerr from Great Britain. well done, John and Sinead Kerr. They came out with all guns firing there, and they've had to wait nearly 3 hours from the start of this competition. The final skaters in the opening section of the ice dance section of this European Championships. Well done.
Very well presented, strong, great edges. They're technically excellent. There was just a moment for me. It's because I kind of plugged into this a little bit on the first side of the first sequence, the timing. And it is one of the key areas that the judges are looking at, alongside interpretation, performance, execution, the timing. It was just slightly, I was just pushing it for me, and then it came back on. And then the rest of it, they were fine, and it was there. Now, if the judges choose to look at that, then, you know, that's part of one of the marks, and that might go down. The rest of it, though, was great. And I suppose the other thing that I would do in comparing them with, you know, the top ones we've seen before with Navka and Kostomarov is the speed and the depth of the edges in certain parts of it. That still needs to be developed a little bit. And this, to me, for them, is the bit of the competition that is not where they can have the exuberance that they got in the OD and the free dance, where they'll bring the roof off this place and it'll be amazing.
Yeah, I hope so, but in all fairness, we're not comparing them with those, are we? We're looking at the Italians. Faiella and Scali in 6th place. That's the sort of position we'd like to be niggling into.
Well, I'm comparing them with the best because that's where I want them to be. So that's always my measure of looking at, you know, a couple that have the potential to go up there. You know, that's where I would come from in looking at this.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I think they need to just.
I mean, there is a way between A and B.
There is,
you know.
yeah.
I mean, I do get what you're saying.
Yeah. I thought it was great. I think they've done themselves proud again, and it's fantastic. Good to see them smiling. There's the team. And your mum's smiling. That's good to see.
It's good to see.
She's a hard taskmaster.
Is she?
Oh, so I've heard.
Nah. She's a pussycat.
A pussycat. Okay, 15.51 for technical elements. Not bad. 17.46 the component score. Where will that have them overall? So a personal best there of 32.97 for John and Sinead. That's good stuff for them, and that has them in an amazing 8th place. Fantastic stuff.
That's great. That is really great.
Well, they're going in the right direction, and that's where they're going to finish because they're last to skate. We love it. Well done, John, Sinead, and your mum.
And from now on, I just think the crowd are going to get behind them with the excitement they develop in their routines this week.
Well, I really hope so. That's the situation. It's the defending champions at the top, Navka-Kostamarov. Then Grushina and Goncharov in 2nd place. A sick Denkova in 3rd with her partner, and that's the situation further down. Great news for Sinead and John in 8th place. Just a wonderful skate, and they held their nerve right to the end of the afternoon here. And the British number 2s there, Pamela O'Connor, Jonathan O'Doherty in 16th place. That's not a bad result for them either. They should be pleased with that. They were 16th in these championships 2 years ago, and they've got a real possibility of pulling up from that position. Well, we're going to take our leave now, but we'll be back at 7:15 Central European Time, 6:15 for viewers back home in the UK with the pairs short programme.